Hey YouTube, XtremeTrainz here. Now, in front of me you can see more of our favourite Thomas toy at the moment, Thomas Minis. Now, this is Wave 3, which has finally appeared in Australia after a couple of months of appearing in one or two shops, then disappearing again. At the moment, what I've found with the Thomas Minis is that Wave 1 from this year has finally reached saturation, but beyond that, it's been really difficult to find Wave 2 and also now Wave 3. I've seen this once, the one day where I bought these, where just after it had been restocked. Very convenient that I happened to accidentally look in the mini section, otherwise I wouldn't have found them. And in the 3 weeks that have followed since I've managed to pick these up, I have not seen anywhere else with these Wave 3 minis. So I don't know what's going on with distribution, but it seems to be that as Hasbro, the maker of Transformers toys, has finally started to sort out their distribution issues in Australia and actually get toys out and get them released at widespread retail kind of at the same time, it seems to me that Mattel has dropped the ball this year and been super unable to coordinate its releases because they do seem to be all over the place. Now, as with my previous 2016 Minis reviews, I'm going to take out the engines that we've already seen before. If you want to know what they are, you're going to have to go back and look at my reviews from last year. Although, just to flag which ones they are, they're all the Classics engines in this release. There's no new Classic engines in this wave. And it's also the Spooky Diesel 10, the Racer Spencer, and the Racer Thomas are the 3 special variants that are included as repeats from last year. So, what are we waiting for? Let's do it. About the order of these is how, in this wave at least, again, the new and the older kind of clumped together. So these are the order. This is the first bag. You get the lowest number in this wave. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, and that's the last one that comes out. But you can see that we've got 4 old ones together here, followed by 2, followed by 3 old ones. Very, very curious way, and I'm wondering if there's any intentional system or if that's just how it's turned out. But it is interesting to note that they do seem to clump together the old and the new minis rather than having them completely interdispersed. And I'm wondering how or why, if anyone's actually thought about that, or if it's just the randomness of the computer-generated numbers. I don't know. Maybe that's just me thinking about those kind of things. Quickly again, you can see that as is the standard for this year, we do get a different packaging stripe on there for every wave. So we can see this is Wave 3 of 2016. We also get new packaging details, which contains images of the engines which are actually in this wave, which is really nice to see. Very happy to see that that's a thing. Again, you can see the numbers on the back. Equally, this series, we've got a Series 3 to 4 collector's card thing. I don't know what you call this, collector's brochure. I have to say, they look much less impressive this year than they did last year with the heaps of minis on them. Interesting, though, that a lot of these are repeats, as you can see from this. A lot of these have got stars on them, to show that they are repeats from last year. For example, the only spooky ones and the only racer ones from this second half of 2016 are all repeats. There's no new ones in there. Lastly then, you can see now that we've got the Super Friends are back. You can see all of them listed there. And then it also has your Silver Thomas or Platinum Thomas or whatever they're calling it this year here. Again, you've got your star saying returning favourites. And then, interestingly enough, it says classic styles also available. So if you look at this, none of the classic engines are listed on this collector's sheet like they were on the previous one for 2016 and also the one for 2015. So if you haven't collected these before and you didn't know what that meant, you'd probably be very confused. Though I just don't think there'd be many people who haven't at least started collecting the minis, or at least wouldn't Google them to suss out what they're about, and hopefully Google will have the answers. Okay, let's get to it. The first mini of this new series is the Core Moments, or the Moments, depending on which ones, which label you read, Thomas. And this is obviously Thomas Comes to Breakfast. Now, this was one of the core moments I was super excited for, and yes, it delivers. This one is excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. This is exactly the kind of thing which I think the minis are very, very good at doing. I just think it's been just done super duper well. You can see you've got all kinds of stuff on here. You've got bacon, you've got bush, you've got bits of wooden planks, eggs, cups, mugs, just the dust and dirt, toast on the top there. I think the extra nice details are the fact that you've got some bacon egg on the face and the bush obscuring Thomas's mouth, which you'll know if you've read the books and or seen that episode. Just really, really, really nice. Really well done, this one. I think it's a really, really cool one to add to your collection. Definitely excited by this one. This is definitely a good pickup. The next one is Creature Dash. Okay, this one is interesting. I think my issue with this one is it reminds me a lot of the other Sport Orange engine we had, Basketball. I think it was like, I can't remember who was the Basketball. I think it might have been his brother was the Basketball. But either way, it's just kind of a little bit, I don't know. The creature ones haven't done much for me yet, and they're still not doing it for me now. You can see they've got all the right details on there, very nicely painted. It's just, I'm just not a big fan of this style of Mini, although people are obviously welcome to disagree with me. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this one. Not a big fan. The next Mini from this wave is another Cool Moments, and this one is, again, I think another winner. Busy Bee James, Bumblebee James, Buzz James, whatever you want to call him. Excellent, excellent, excellent again. I think they've done a really good job with capturing that. Interesting to note is that this James, the body is actually yellow and the black is painted over the top, which I thought was just something interesting to note about the way that they mold and print these minis. Very, very happy with this one. I really like it. I'm a big fan. It would have been nice possibly to get the red nose, like he's been stung by a bee, not just dressed up as one. But this is obviously based on the later episode in the Thomas and Friends franchise world than the really early season, like 3 episode James Goes Buzz, I think is what that one's called. But yeah, no, definitely a good one. Happy to have that. Big fan. Alright. Next one is definitely one of my favorites from this wave, and possibly from this year. The Electrified Hero. When I saw the electric ones, this is one I was most excited for. It delivers. This one is excellent, excellent, excellent. The yellow clear plastic, or, you know, transparent plastic as people are calling it now, translucent plastic, whatever you want to call it, is awesome. Why is that? Because it lets the light through enough so that you can really get that glow, but it's not totally see-through. I just think it looks awesome. He just looks so energized. I'm just going to quickly move the camera, and you can just put it up to the light, and you just get that super cool glowing energy electro effect, which also, when contrasted with that solid black, I think looks super, super, super cool, especially the way the running board actually kind of cuts up the solid black. I think this guy looks really, really excellent. I think they did a great job, and they got the transparent colored plastic right on this one. Equally, I think the details of the electro are done really, really well, and I think, again, they pop out from the black really, really nicely. So this one is a super cool one, definitely an eye-catcher. The next one we've got on this front row here is the Graffiti Victor. Now, I've been a bit on the fence about the graffiti ones. I kind of liked the idea at the start, and then I said, oh, I think they're a little bit plain. Again, I think this one is probably, yeah, like, it's a good graffiti engine, don't get me wrong. I think it's quite cool that we've got that detailing on the side. You can see the words Victor written there, and the extra bits of spray paint. He's got a little bit coming over the top, nothing on here, but some splotches here. And they bring around the other side, and you've got Victor written again. I do think it's cool. I just think this one's a little bit, I don't know. I'm still not sure how I feel about the graffiti ones. I might like them all when they're all lined up next to each other, when they're a complete set. But individually, they haven't quite been doing it for me. That's just me, though. The next one we've got here is Sweets Charlie. Now, this, again, excellent use of the clear plastic, or the translucent plastic. This one, all of him except the running board, which is white, all the rest of him is this purple clear plastic. And again, it looks stunning. Partly because it's painted on a lot of it. Like, for example, this one's painted on most of its side except the back. So that means you get enough light coming through. Again, you can get a really cool glow, as you can see from that light there. Like, look at that. Sorry, the camera's like lens flaring out a little bit, but you can just see the way he kind of glows, but he still looks like a physical figure. He doesn't look that, he's not totally clear like the Skarloey was from last year. So you still get those details on there of the whipped cream or the chocolate icing cream. I'm not exactly sure what kind of cake he's supposed to be either, but some kind of cakey thing with cream and berries on it. You still get those lovely painted details, but you also get this stunning colour. So this one, again, definitely a favourite from this wave. Next one here is your Sports Porter. Woo! I'm assuming he's Gridiron. Which is a quick side note, is an interesting choice to be Gridiron, considering Thomas and Friends is like a British brand. But they don't play that as much in the UK as they do in the US. But sure, I will say Gridiron. Yeah, look, these sports ones have been interesting to me. I've kind of found it weird how, like, they're a player, but they're also the actual sport. Like, he's a bull, but he's also a player because he's got loads of Gridiron masks on. I don't know. These ones, again, I'm a little bit on the fence about them. I kind of like the concept. I just think the execution ends up being a little bit weirder than it would otherwise be. But hey, if you like them, go for it. Definitely does not disappoint in the detailing department, as you can see there. Very, very cool. I love the way, actually, this one looks like it's textured. Like, it kind of feels a bit rough because of the way it's printed. But it just looks so 3D and so textured. Like, it looks like you're going to be touching the leather of one of those balls. So that's kind of cool. Next one here we've got is a Sweets Skarloey. Nice to see the Skarloey mod back again. Very, 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 very obvious way to do this, but I think it's done again well. He's obviously like some kind of candy cane thing. Looks excellent. I really like this one because he's got a double use as well. Like, he can equally go with the Christmas minis that we had last year, which I'm not sure if we're getting again this year, but very possibly. But also can go with your winter minis and also can go with the Sweets minis. So I think he's actually probably a bit multi-purpose, which is awesome. I just really love the color. I think using the white wheels really helps in just making this guy look definitely like Skarloey, but equally has that zing. This is the kind of zing where you can take the standard colors of an engine and just do enough to them so that it's different without completely reworking it, which is what I don't think the graffiti ones quite manage. This one, on the other hand, and the same with Charlie, definitely managed that really well. And then last of our standard new ones for this wave is Sweets Ferdinand. Now, this is again a case where I think they've made a mistake in making this way too similar to the normal Ferdinand. As you can see, the colours are very, very similar to the standard one. The only difference is that now his front part of his boiler looks like it's made of chocolate. You can see it's got some chocolate printing on there. But it just, yeah, this one doesn't really do it for me because I actually quite like the mould. I just think it's been executed in a way which is too similar to the original, particularly because he's actually lost a lot of details, whereas the classic ones are quite detailed. This one doesn't have a lot of detail on them because instead you've got this wrapper, which does say Sodor Candy Factory on the side, but beyond that, it doesn't really say a lot. And then equally, because he's actually brown, like the top part of this is molded in brown, which is interesting because all the part that's brown is actually painted over, but okay. You look on the back and you can see that brownness and it kind of ruins that illusion of being a wrapper that's coming undone. So yeah, not a big fan of this one. I think it's a little bit too similar, but you know, it is what it is. Alright, last but not least are the 4 DC minis which make a return for this wave. First one we've got here is pretty obvious. This is Rosie as Supergirl. Now, the reason I'm excited for this is not because it's Supergirl, because I'm kind of over the minis. Cool to get Superman and Batman. That was about it though. It's that this is a brand new mold for 2016. This is the Rosie mold. As you can see, very, very nice. I can't wait to get this in a classic version because I think it's going to look really, really good. It's got all the details it should have, the 3 domes, the little square bit on the cab, and also that raised smoke coal bunker, as well as the dipping water tanks. Very, very excellent mold. In terms of it as Supergirl, yeah, it does what it has to do. I don't see any, I've just said no issues with it, but I just don't really care for the DC minis that much at the moment. So to me, this is just kind of like a cool thing, but it's not anything special. Next one, you got Firestorm, Flynn. I don't know these characters. No. So I don't know what this one's like. Again, cool colors. I actually think the yellow Flynn with the red as the accent is quite cool. I like, it's the kind of inversion that I like. It's just a shame it's going for a character I just don't know who they are. Again, same kind of design and pattern. Interesting now that the superhero ones have got this black dot pattern. I think it's making it look kind of like comic book style, but not exactly sure what's going on there. Again, nothing wrong with it. Just doesn't quite do it for me just because I don't really have any connection to the franchise. Next one, we've got Belle as Batgirl. And again, Belle is a brand new mold. Some people were saying that Belle and Rosie were going to share a mold. As you can see, they're very clearly different molds, which is super exciting. I can't really get a good look at her face because of the covering on it. But you can see she's got those details at the front that she belongs, that special shaped cab, the back of her looks excellent, and also got the water tanks, which I think is very, very cool. So again, another cool mold, but not a super big fan of the way she looks. Okay, had to look up the name of these last two, because it turns out this is not actually Batgirl, this is Raven, but shows how much I know about DC comics. Not much. This here, the last mini from this Wave 3 2016 is Hawkman, or Victor as Hawkman. Again, no idea who these characters are. Don't mean anything to me. Cool color scheme though. I like the yellow with the green and then this kind of like pinky color that's going on here. It's a bit hard to see. It looks a bit white on the camera, I think, but it is actually kind of a pink color. Yeah, funky color scheme for sure. I just don't know if the hero is... Again, I don't really care for the hero kind of motif design that they're going for here, so it's, yeah, not doing anything for me specifically. One thing I will note about these heroes is there's a lot of yellow. Like, lining up these ones, a lot of yellow. I think they maybe could have done a better job of mixing them up, just so that, like, when you're getting these, you don't think they're the same character or get confused. Particularly because it seems like yellow is a colour that features almost in all of them. Like, if you have a look at the ones which are still coming, there's just a lot of yellow in general, so they didn't have a lot of options, it seems. But yeah, that's just something which I've noticed. Although again, you can see that it's going to be kind of an interesting wave this time. A lot of primary colours, but okay, sure. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents on how they should have done that, but that is totally up to Mattel. So now we get to the part of the video where we sit back and we think about which ones of these waves did I like. Now, I think I made it pretty clear which ones were my favourite at the start of this video, but I'm going to go through it again. These two are definitely my 2 favourites by far, and then coming in closely behind would have to be this Breakfast Thomas. I just love it. I really like that episode. It's a classic. So yeah, to me, these 3 are definitely the ones to get from this line. Obviously, I encourage you to go pick up whichever ones you like the most. Personally, I could do without these, but I didn't know that there were superheroes back in this wave. Otherwise, I, to be honest, probably wouldn't have picked them up. But, you know, that's just the way it is, unfortunately, with these kind of things. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this series. I think, again, the reuse of minis from previous waves and previous years is definitely a little bit of a downer on me collecting minis this year, because it's, you know, you really only get half of a mini wave of new minis. And there haven't been probably the number of new molds which we would like to see. Although I think that's going to change in 2017, having seen some of them leaked out. For example, we're getting some more classic engines like Duck, and we're also getting Annie and Clarabelle, at least, if not some more rolling stock. So that's something exciting. I finally got a new job. Yay! Which means hopefully I'm going to have some more disposable income in the near future, because there are definitely some other mini things which I haven't picked up yet, like the glow-in-the-dark set, like the motorized set from this year, which I really wanted to pick up and take a look at. I just have not been able to have the capital to do that. So hopefully in the near future, there's still plenty more mini stuff to come. But in the meantime, don't forget to look at all my other videos and like and subscribe all my stuff on my channel, because that's what you guys will do, because you're excellent. Comment down below and share with your friends, because that definitely is lame as me. And I need to think of another tagline, and I've said that I need to think of another tagline, and I still haven't done it, even though it's been quite a few weeks since I made my last video. But anyway, as always guys, thanks for watching. That's what we've got time for. This is XtremeTrainz.